So for the past week, I've pretty much been going out on my riding on my bike pretty much most days. And I think overall I am getting more used to how it controls. I'm getting more used to how to use the electric component and assisting. Um, and I think for the most part I am riding safely, I think. Um, there are some areas which I still need experiencing with, and I suppose traveling down narrow pathways is definitely something I'm a bit weak on. I don't know what it is, but I just find it difficult to ride in a straight line. And when I go into a narrow path, I tend to just lose my balance and keep fearing that I might not keep in steady control. And yesterday I did actually. So I was traveling down a narrow pathway, and basically to my left there was some trees, and then to my right there was a wooden fence. And about halfway down the pathway, I just kept losing my balance, and then I ended up scraping the handlebar against the wooden fence. And that obviously just kind of, messed up the handlebar a little bit, not too badly, but it did also scratch a bit of my arm as well. So yeah, I'm still having trouble maintaining balance and keeping a straight line down narrow pathways. And to be honest, I still feel that even though it's not my intention, but I am still riding it a little bit too risky, especially when I'm kind of switching between pavements to bike lanes and even sometimes crossing the road as well. Like, I do my part and look both ways to see if there are any vehicles coming my way. But when riding a bike and going at a, constantly moving on the bike, it does make it a bit difficult to really look left and right to take quick glimpses if there are any cars coming. And then there have been a few occasions where I look both ways and I start to cross, but then there's actually a vehicle coming, so I ended up having to kind of pedal a bit faster to avoid being hit or something. But yeah, it's just something that I've got to work on a bit more. But I do feel that with my mental health, it does make concentration really difficult. So a lot of times, even when I'm riding, my mind tends to wander into just various distractions, and it makes me, hard to concentrate on where I'm going or be aware of my surroundings. So yeah, I guess I just need to take it a bit slower when riding and just be more cautious and careful, I guess. But I suppose the main thing that kind of scared me a little yesterday when out riding was, so I was riding on the pavement and I was basically passing one of the colleges, and outside the college there's a car park which obviously allows cars in and out, and as I was passing that part of the section, I slowed down to pretty much like a standing running speed, so relatively slow. But I looked both ways to see if there were any vehicles coming, and both were empty. So I continued going past the college, but then suddenly this speeding car just came from the car park and started just traveling really fast towards me. And if I didn't turn to my left slightly to, create some space, that car would have hit me. It would have hit me in the leg and towards my back wheel. And at the speed that car was going, it surely would have knocked me over pretty badly. So that definitely scared me. And luckily, there wasn't anyone nearby at the time, so I was able to maneuver the bike and continue down the pavement. And luckily for me, that car managed to stop in time before it really hit me. It was basically about a foot away from colliding with me. And then as I continued riding down, that driver in the car just suddenly accelerated really quickly and then out the car park and then up the road. And at that time, I just kept questioning myself who was in the wrong. I just don't have too much experience with riding a bike and how these kind of rules and things kind of work. But I can't really tell if I was in the wrong or if the driver was in the wrong. I think I'm leaning more towards the driver was in the wrong. Like I said, I slowed down to a very slow speed before crossing the pathway leading to the car park. I looked both ways to see if there were any cars coming, and it was clear. So I started to pass, and then this car just suddenly speeded around the corner to the car park, and then just basically almost blindsided me. And luckily, like I said, I managed to move the bike to avoid getting hit. And then as I left the pavement, that car just carried on speeding away. But to me, it feels like that driver was pretty reckless. And because it was in college, it was probably like a teenager, like student or something. So I think I'm leaning towards the driver was in the wrong, but I am truly unsure who was in the wrong in this situation. So if whoever's watching this video can leave a comment saying who was in the wrong, then I'd really appreciate it. So if I was in the wrong, then I'll make amends to kind of not make that mistake again in the future. But if the driver was in the wrong, then I could have been seriously injured. And it just shows that even when I'm being careful outside and riding, there are still some people who can be quite reckless and not be careful. So again, I would appreciate it if whoever's watching can leave a comment to say who was in the wrong in this situation, so then I can confirm truly who was actually in the wrong. But other than that, I'd say so far I have enjoyed riding on my bike. Like, I've discovered about 3 different parks in my local area that I never even knew existed. Like, living in this area let's see, about 20 years now. Almost 20 years. Yeah, I've just never really explored this area much. So riding on my bike has definitely made me realize just how little I know about my local area. And then discovering those parks as well definitely has nice scenery and stuff. And for the most part, the people I've ridden past have been quite friendly. They usually like to greet with a hello and stuff. So I guess that's something nice to see and hear. But again, I just feel that I need to be more careful when riding and try and be more aware of my surroundings. But yeah, overall I think so far this week riding the bike has been pretty positive for the most part. So with everything that's going on with my family member that I've been talking about this past few videos, I feel like I'm probably never going to get around to talking about this, but I just feel that, I've already held off for about a month talking about it just because it didn't feel right at the time because of with negative news of my family member and stuff that he's still struggling and going through now. But like I said, I feel that if I don't talk about it now, then it might be something that I'll never really have a good opportunity to talk about, I guess. So, but I guess the thing that I mean to talk about is that about a month ago. So if you've been following me on this channel, I mentioned that I donated one of my books to my local library, and I waited for about a month to about 5 weeks and I heard nothing, so I decided to pay the library a visit and chase up on it. And then they said they'll put it on the higher list to get around to reading it. And then about 2 or 3 days after my visit, they notified me that the book has actually been accepted to the library. And yeah, this was definitely a very happy and positive news for me. But like I said, it happened at a time where my family member was going through some rough time, and I received negative news, so that's why I didn't feel it was the right time to really talk about this. But yeah, they accepted my book, and then to prove it to myself, I suppose, I decided to pay the visit and actually go search for the book. And I actually took pictures of it when I found it. It was under the teen section. So I guess, for me personally, this is quite a big step, since before donating the book, I had the feeling that it wouldn't be accepted just because, the book has to be a certain standard, I guess, to be in the library. But I'm happy that, they read through it, they thought, it was good enough to be in the mainstream library. So yeah, this is quite a big moment for me. And, if I ever want to donate any more of the book, I can just hand more copies in without them having to check it through, since it's the same book. But yeah, it was a very positive moment for me, and I do plan on trying donate my other books to see if they'll be accepted as well at the library. So yeah, this has been something that I've been wanting to talk about for about a month to 5 weeks now, but because of the timing with my family member, it just wasn't a very good time to bring it up. But yeah, I just felt like I've held off talking about it long enough now, that I feel that, if I don't talk about it now, then I might never get a good opportunity to talk about it, really. But I'm glad that I'm able to mention it today in this video. So again, it was a very positive moment for me, and kind of gives me more confidence, I guess, in myself, that even though my grammar and maybe like choice of words may not be like as in depth as many other writers, I'm still glad that even with what I'm able to achieve in my book, it's still accepted into the library. So yeah, it's definitely a big moment for me. And I'm sure while I was talking about my book, I'm sure you've noticed I've got a mohawk now. And it was actually something that I've been planning on getting for a while now. Like, if you've been following me in these recent videos, you might have noticed that I was growing my hair out a bit, and it's been years since I've let my hair grow out a bit, and that was just because I was aiming to try out a mohawk. So it's not like a full mohawk. It kind of stops at the back a bit, so it doesn't go all the way to my neck. But yeah, it's just a style that, after keeping with the same style with the hat for many years now, I just thought that, I've always been curious on trying out a mohawk. So yeah, I think it's, when I look at myself in the mirror, it definitely it takes time to get used to this look. But I think it turned out okay. Like, I'm gonna let it grow out a bit more, so maybe I can start like spiking it upwards. Not like a full tall one, but just kind of like short and kind of bit spiked up, I guess. And then I'll still keep to the shaved sides as well. So yeah, it was quite scary for me. It was quite scary for me to do as well, because I've not been to the barbers in many, many years, just because my mum usually tends to cut my hair. But like, I didn't bring this up to my mum just because I know she wouldn't really be too fond of me having a mohawk. So I decided to go to the barbers by myself, and yeah, it was scary having to go into the barbers and have like someone cut my hair. And yeah, again, I was nervous going to the barbers, but I'm glad I was able to do it. And then when I told my mum about the mohawk, as expected, she wasn't too fond of the idea of the look. But I had a bit of a, like, I just kind of mentioned to her why I decided to get one and stuff, and that I've been planning on it for a while. That I think overall she's kind of come round a bit more to understand it a bit more. So yeah, I mean, who knows how long I'll stick with this look, but for now it's just something I'm just kind of trying out with my curiosity, I guess. So like I said, I plan to let it grow out a bit longer so I can start spiking it and stuff. But yeah, it's just, I guess this is now the mark of possibly a new look, maybe. I mean, I still plan to wear the hat here and there, but I guess I can kind of mix it up with a hat on and off. So yeah, hopefully this new look goes well for me. So I guess that's pretty much it for this week. So hopefully I'll see you next Saturday. That's it for this video. My name is Hoiman, and please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. And remember, Always look forward, keep hope alive, and remember you're somebody.